Okay.
Yep, good to go.
Okay, we'll call the museum committee to order. I'll remind anybody if they have a pecuniary interest, you can address that now or later in the agenda. We have 2 action items and 6 information items. So we'll start with the action item on the request for items to be de-accessioned.
Mm-hmm. So good afternoon and Happy New Year to everyone. So the first of the 2 items is in regards to deaccessioning. So again, this is, actually the report's a little bit in a different order there, but the deaccessioning list, again, is a deaccessioning list for items from the collection. So that is a basic procedure that we have been bringing forward to you for several months right now, and obviously it's, the standard of what we're doing. So there is a list attached, and we're looking for a recommendation in regards to approving that deaccessioning.
Do I have a mover and seconder on this recommendation? Paul, seconded by Mike. Okay. Any questions on this? I see none. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Thank you. That's carried.
Okay, and the second action item is in regards to policies. So again, we have an ongoing process of putting our policies through a process of review, and the 2 policies that have been attached is collections management and physical plant policy, and both of them, there's been some minor changes to them, not anything in particular, just accessibility. They're now in an accessible format, and also the flow of the actual document just reads better when someone is going through those policies.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on this? So we have a recommendation that the revised collection management and physical plant policies for Bruce County Museum and Cultural Center be approved. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Let's go. We didn't get a mover and a seconder. Anne and Robert. Sorry. All in favor? Thank you, that's carried.
Okay, so moving into the information section of the report, it's usually at this time of year that I bring forward the artist report. And as you can see, we have 3 lovely paintings to add to the collection this year. The 3 artists that were selected were Jill Pratt with the middle piece being called The Dune Shadow. Jill is out of Sauble Beach. Just to my left, the large green one, which is called Swamped, is Marian Anderson. She has a home in Southampton. And then to the just to the side of the middle piece, to the right on that side, is another piece called Selenian Moon, and that's by an artist originally from Hamilton, but he now makes his home in Port Elgin. So what we had talked about, and I had listed in the report, is that the county has been purchasing art since 1982 with the Juried Art Show. So for 2016, we're not going to, or rather for 2017, we will bring back the Juried Art Show. But then we won't do a purchase again the following year, but we'll look for significant either milestones within the county or specific, if there is a need for new buildings to be dressed and things of that nature, that we would continue on, or potentially do the Juried Art Show every couple of years, but we won't be purchasing every single year moving forward. The other thing that I wanted to bring to your attention is that this collection is exactly that. It is a significant art collection for the County of Bruce. There are approximately, with the addition of these 3 pieces, we are now at 83 pieces for the county in total. So what the museum will do moving forward this year is we are going to take on the task of actually cataloging the collection. So we will be coming on site to the various locations. We'll be photographing, we'll be putting the collection pieces into our database, and we will also be using that process to turn this collection into one of the first virtual exhibits for the county. So it's kind of tying in with our digital strategy, but also getting into the area of virtual exhibitions as well. Really nice way for us to make the collection even more accessible to the residents of the county as well. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. Okay. So moving along, the business report that you have in front of you, again, this talks about our sponsorships and where we are in terms of our planned revenue. So at the time of when this report was submitted, we were at 49% of our planned revenue confirmed to date, which is great. It means that we have 49% of our sponsorships already currently secured. So there's a number of confirmed sponsors, either in kind and actual financial contribution, and then there are a number of ones that are pending. And you'll see this change over the next report as well, because I believe we're closer to 76% of planned revenue in sponsorship complete at this time. Moving into the next item, which is our education report. The focus right now, as you'll recall, we had funding through Commemorate Canada. So for the next 3 months, we're really focused on creating the traveling exhibit, which we had received funding for. This traveling trunk, Bruce Remembers, which is an extension of our physical permanent exhibit, will be focused at the grade 10 curriculum. And it will be our first attempt at a bilingual exhibition. That was part of the parameters behind the Commemorate Canada focus in the grant. It will primarily focus on 3 of our veterans who are listed in there: Private Cunningham, Matthew Solomon, and Dryden Cameron. And we are hopeful. The expectation is that this traveling trunk will be completed by March, and we will start to shop that out to not only schools, secondary schools within the county, but outside of the province as well. So we have a number of schools in Manitoba that we're looking at making this trunk possible for programming elements. So we're quite excited about that. And then, of course, there was a number of other activities. We had our Christmas programming activities. It was our first real foray into really working with preschool students. We typically only do programming that starts at age 5. But because there is such a large amount of younger families in the areas right now with small children, 0, although it's really not 0, but up until 4 years of age, we decided to do some preschool programming. It was very successful. So we have our next preschool program, which we're calling Museum Munchkins, which is based on caregiver and children starting in the, actually on January 22nd. So it is an area that we see as a growth area for programming within the museum. And of course, just another way we know that if we get people in early enough, then they will become members, and then they will continue to roll into different programs, be it the Kids Zone day camps or the March break program or school programming, etc. So a really concentrated effort on how we're looking at our programming. And there's one of our young little chefs with his chef hat and the cookies that they were making that day. And then, of course, our children's programming with Santa Claus, another very successful season with Santa. And Santa is one of our volunteers who actually dresses up for that programming and quite enjoys it. Into our marketing report, just to bring to your attention, again, the countywide awareness is very important to us. So there were a number of speaking opportunities that had taken place over the year. These are a few that we had listed in regards to the Rotary, obviously the municipalities, Women's Institute, the Quilt Guilds, etc. And then that doesn't include, but we also participate in some of these other groups, whether it be men's or women's ProBus, the different chamber groups, the Propeller Club, things of that nature. So that's something that we'll continue to look at as we move forward. Some of the other opportunities that have been presented to us is working in conjunction with the CFUW, or the Canadian Federation of University Women, and being able to market and get exposure through their marketing channels, predominantly their newsletter, and also partnering with social services in terms of their newsletter as well. So we're looking at better partnerships within the county departments as well. And then we have a programming report. So programming, again, just kind of a wrap up on our Great War programming. We did receive that funding through Veterans Canada, and we were able to do a variety of programs in and around the Great War, and it extended over a period of time. So we will be looking at going back to that funder to see if we can either do further programming or exhibitions through them. And then again, just to wrap up some pictures there in regards to a local artist that was in promoting his book. And then again, our Christmas celebrations with the Victorian tea and the Celtic dancers. And again, kids having lots of fun in regards to Christmas activities. And then the last item that I wanted to just address was the strategic plan. So earlier last year, Council will remember that we had a presentation March 2015 in regards to our strategic plan. And we've been very busy always trying to evaluate where we are with that, but more importantly, making sure that we're actually implementing or working towards implementation of the strategic plan. So just wanted to highlight in regards to the various pillars, some of the accomplishments that we have had to date. So in regards to the area of partnerships and relationships, we were able to, in particular with First Nations, we hosted the SON OPG meeting. We partnered with SON to host a local exhibit that we were the first leg of the tour of that exhibition. It was all local artists that were involved in that from Saugeen. Of course, we were the recipient of the Community Engagement Award through the OHS, the Ontario Historical Society Award. And then we are still in collaboration and working with SON and some funders to try to move forward the redevelopment of the First Nations Gallery. As far as inter-organizational programming partnerships, there were a number of activities that took place in particular with our Bruce County Library System, and that was through the summer activities as well as archives program. And really 32 venues outside of the museum walls, including festivals, libraries, markets type of environments, provincial parks, fall fairs, etc. So we really are trying to work very hard in regards to engaging on a community level, engaging with more partners, as well as bringing the museum outside of our four walls so that we have that county-wide awareness and start really building that awareness. Currently, in regards to the relevant and compelling programming, we're creating this 3-year sustainability plan for programs, activities, and exhibitions, and we're looking to have that completed by September 2016. That will be an integral part of our communication when we complete our CMOG grant in June. And CMOG, as you know, is our operating grant, of which we receive just under $72,000 a year. Digital access strategy, I did mention about the online collection for the art collection, but it is a way that we are currently developing more digital type of access, whether that's through use of exhibitions, programming, or a number of different areas. Optimized use of the space. The archives collecting plan has been completed. That was presented last year. The accommodation plan is wrapping up. We're just waiting for a review of that, and that will be brought forward to council in our February session. Collections has been busy doing rehousing projects and deaccessioning, as you can see from the reports. And actually, for the first time, Archives has done some deaccessioning as well. So we're really looking and working hard to make sure that we are trying to utilize the space as efficiently and effectively as possible where we currently are in the footprint. As far as creating the county-wide awareness, as mentioned before, the outreach in terms of presentations, the employee membership plan was launched last year. As of December 9th, we were at 76% increase in membership. That number has gone up. I think at the end of the year, we're close to 643 members, as opposed to 470 from the year before. Woohoo. And again, the county-wide marketing plan is in development. So it just this is a little snapshot of where our membership is. It's no surprise that obviously, you know, in terms of Saugeen Shores, we have a bigger footprint there, but we really are working hard to make sure that all of the municipalities recognize that the county museum is their museum as well. So I just wanted to bring those kind of to your attention, and what we will do moving forward is as we continue to move and complete things with our strategic plan, I'll bring those updates forward as well.
Thank you, Kathy. Does anybody have any questions or comments on any of those information items? I don't see any, so with that, I guess we'll need a motion to go into closed.
Yes.
Anne, seconded by Robert. All in favor of going into closed? Thank you. We're in closed.
Okay.
So the report coming out of close, the minutes of September 9, 2013 have been approved and passed, and the committee has agreed to deem the lead hand position at the museum to be redundant and will not be backfilled. And with that, I guess I need, the next meeting will be February the 4th. What's that?
Sorry, Madam Chair, we need a motion on the latter one, if the mover and seconder could be sought, and then an approval for the...
And that mover was Mike and seconded by Robert. Is that, yes. And everyone was in favor. Thank you, that's carried. So the next meeting is February the 4th, and I'll need a motion to adjourn. And seconded by Robert, all in favor? Thank you, we're adjourned.